Hello, friends. This is Carlos Oñoro from Historias Roqueras. I usually do these English chapters to train a little bit in English and offer any one of you wanting to listen to some content in English from a non-native, so you can have a trade-off in speed and maybe some things that are easier to get with that. And I speak about music, but the other day, Gustavo Petro, Colombian president, went to the United Nations, and that guy spoke, and his speech has been, at least in my country, source of praise and criticism. And I was listening, and he made me have to look for some things in Google which I didn't understand quietly. So that made me try to, because I have to confess something. The other day I had a plan. We were in the middle of the COVID thing, and I was thinking, what else can I do from my place to make money? And I was thinking, maybe I can be a translator, official translator. And I tried to do that. And I had to wait like 6 months because they have only one test every year or something like that. It's very, very, very costly, like 1 million and something, 1,400,000. So you do several written tests and also some oral stuff. This is not for like real-time interpretation. No, that's not the case. But it's to officially translate documents and pieces that doesn't require the real-time thing. So I went and did the test, right? And and I didn't pass, and I was pissed off. I was pissed off because I thought, let's put it that way. I thought, they were not up to their own content to judge the translation I did. There was this text about the United States Constitution, and they talk about the framers, right? So the framers of the constitutions are the founding fathers of the United States, the guys who signed together. They composed, they designed, they plot the Constitution and signed it. Some of them didn't, but anyway. So the guy or the guys, supposedly they were more than one or something like that, evaluating my test. So the guy didn't know who the framers were. And he put an error when I said padres fundadores in Spanish. Well, anyway, I was really pissed off. And I came to them, and they came back with some bullshit, So when I was I lost my money. Yeah, be careful if you want to do that. So I was so pissed off. Anyway, back to Gustavo Petro. So Petro spoke, right, and it was great. I'm from that part of the people that think that guy was brave, and he was. Yeah, I was very happy with it. But I noticed there was some points within the speech that he might, he apparently he had it on his mind, and in a way that there were some spots there that he wanted to say something, and he said something differently, and you could understand. In retrospective, you could understand what he meant. And I was thinking, oh my God, how can the translator, now the interpreter, do with these glitches in his voice. And I was thinking, if I was the president, yeah, okay, I would memorize it to emphasize and to demonstrate and to be, more effective than just reading. But what I would do is simply write. I write my speech, and I make a certified translation of it in English. I distribute it to everyone, and then I go and say my speech, right? And yeah, I was thinking, oh my God, how I love this. I love translating stuff. I do. You know what? I have the Vladimir Putin's speech one day before he went to Ukraine. That one is great. One day I will record that. But anyway, so after all this, me being pissed off for failing the exam, I was thinking, oh, this is what I would do. This is what I would do, right? So yeah, so I took his speech and tried to translate it. This is, of course, not official at all. This is just my perception, my interpretation. I try to be as faithful as possible, but in those spots where he make a mistake, a word, he changes one word with another, and you could tell he wants to say something otherwise. So I go straight there. I correct the error. Also, yeah, he made me go to Google. I don't know if I mentioned that before. He mentions 1933. We're amplifying what they did in 1933 with in Spanish he says the assault to reason. The assault to reason is the name in Spanish of a book written about something that happened in 1933. The book is from 50 something. That book is written by Georgi Lukács. The book was published in 1954, but it speaks about what happened in 1933, which is when the Nazis finally got into office. They get the power in Germany, and they do like a auto attempt, and they fake the communists put fire to a building, and then with that excuse, to put it some way, they enact stronger laws that gave them the power. But that's not exactly, well, that's what happened. But what Gustavo Petro is talking about is what happened next. Germany was the greatest. Well, let's put it some way. All patents, like 70% or more, come from Germany. Everything paying intellectual rights, between 70 to 80%, that money goes to Germany. They might not manufacture anything, but everything manufactured that has or copied, right? Because software also. So everything that has to be replicated, it has 80% chance that's coming from Germany, or the money of the rights goes to Germany. The rest of the expenses is something else, but yeah, intellectual property, 80% comes from Germany. So the paradoxical of the thing is that at that point in time in history, 1933, when the Nazis came to power, the smartest, the greatest nation, at least the one who has created more for humanity. Altogether, the people were hypnotized by these guys. And in retrospective, the reasons, the actions were, irrational. That's what the book in English is called, The Destruction of Reason. Right. But anyway, this is the part that I had to Google, right? And I don't know if you pay attention to the speech, that is a place where you say, okay, I didn't know, sorry, maybe you guys did, but I had to stop. And I noticed then that there's some content there. So anyway, I was prone to do this because of several reasons. So I have here, I don't know if this is bothering for you, but I consider it fun. I'm sorry. Today, I'm not going to talk about metal or music. I'm going to give you my translation of Gustavo Petro's speech at the United Nations. Yesterday, this speech was on the 20th of September, 2022. The United Nations always gets together near to these dates. By the way, many of the things that Gustavo Petro said yesterday they are written down in it's a commitment that every nation has for 2030. We are 8 years away, and oh boy, I don't think we are close enough. Anyway, so to make a long story short, here's his speech right now. I come from one of the 3 most beautiful countries of the earth. There, life explodes. Thousands of multicolored species from the seas, in its skies, on its lands. I come from a land of yellow butterflies and magic. There, in those mountains and valleys of all kinds of green, not only flows abundant waters, also flows down streams of blood. I come from a country of blood-stained beauty. My country is not only beautiful. There's also violence. Now, how can beauty and death conjugate? How can life diversity erupt within the dances of death and horror? Who's responsible of breaking such enchantment with terror? Who or what is responsible of choking life with ordinary decisions from wealth and profit? Who takes us to oblivion as a nation and as people? My country is beautiful because it has the Amazon jungle, the Choco jungle, the waters, the mountains, from the Andes and the oceans. There, in those jungles, planetary oxygen emanates and atmospheric CO2 is absorbed. One of those CO2 absorbing plants between millions of species is one of the most haunted plants on the earth. By any means its destruction needs to be achieved. It's an Amazon plant. It is the coca plant, Inca's sacred plant. As if with a paradoxical crossroad, the jungle intended to save is destroyed at the same time to destroy coca plant. Venom is thrown, massive Roundup sprays running down the waters, detaining its harvesters and incarcerating them. Trying to destroy or possess coca leaves harvests, 1 million Latin Americans are assassinated, and 2 million African Americans are incarcerated in North America. Destroy the plant that kills, they exclaim from the north. Destroy it. But the plant is just but another plant. From the millions of species dying when fire is unleashed over the jungle, destroy the jungle, the Amazon jungle, became the slogan followed by states and businessmen. Scientists' warning are not heard when they name the jungle as one of the climate pillars. For the power relations of the world, the jungle and its inhabitants are to blame from the plague the aforementioned are suffering. The power relationships of the world are overwhelmed by money addiction, addiction to power perpetuity, addiction to oil, addiction to cocaine and harder drugs, in order to be numbed even more. Nothing more hypocrite than the rhetorics of saving the jungle. Gentlemen, the jungle is burning while you wage war and play with it. The jungle, the climate pillar of the world, disappears with all its life. The great CO2 absorbing sponge vanishes. The savior jungle, as seen in my country as the enemy to defeat, as the undergrowth to be removed. The living space of coca plant and its farmers, who have no other choice, is demonized. You don't care about my country. You only spray venom to its jungle, take their men to jail, and condemn its women to exclusion. You don't care about their children's education. You only care about killing their jungle and extracting coal and oil from its entrails. The venom-absorbing sponge is useless. You prefer to throw in more venom to atmosphere. We are only useful as an excuse for the emptiness and the loneliness of your own society. Driven to live within drug-filled bubbles, we hide the problem you neglect to reform. It is better to wage war to jungle, to its plants and people, while you let the jungle burn. While hypocrites, they go after the plants with venom to hide your own society's disasters. You ask for more coal and more oil to quench that other addiction: consumption, power, money. What is more poisonous for human beings? Cocaine, coal, or oil? The powers have sentenced cocaine is the venom and has to be prosecuted, even if it only claims a minimum number of lives by overdose, but those are caused mainly by the mixes provoked by its resulting legal banning. On the other hand, coal and oil shall be protected, even if its use would extinguish the whole humanity. This is how world powers are: unjust matters, unreasonable matters, because the world powers have become irrational. They see in the jungle's exuberance, in its vitality, lust, and sinfulness, the guilty origin of their society's sadness, imbued in deep, unlimited compulsion of having and consuming. How to hide the loneliness of the heart within dryness in loveless societies, competitive to a point of confining the soul to solitude, if not blaming the plant, the man who forms it, or to the libertarian secrets of the jungle. According to rational world powers, the market, dreamer of existence, is not responsible. The jungle and its inhabitants are to blame. Bank accounts balances have become unlimited. The money stored for the most powerful of the earth won't even be spent through centuries. Sadness of existence produced by that artificial call to competition is populated with noise and drugs. Addiction to money and to having has another face: drug addiction in people. Defeated by the competition, the artificial race in which humanity has turned into. Roundup sprayed over the jungle can't cure the sickness of loneliness. The jungle is not responsible. It is their society, educated towards endless consuming, in the stupid confusion between consuming and happiness, allowing world powers to fool their pockets. It is the unreason within its world powers. Give a hit of light of reason to your power. Turn up the lights of the century again. If we don't rewrote and it prolongs another 40 years, the United States will witness 2,800,000 young overdosing with fentanyl, which is not produced in Latin America. It will witness how millions of African Americans are jailed in their privately run prisons. The convicted African American turn into merchandise for the penitentiary business. An additional million of Latin Americans will be killed. They will fill our waters and green fields with blood. They will witness the demise of democracy's dream in my America as in Anglo-Saxon America. Democracy will die where it was born, in the great Western Europe Athens. Hiding the truth, you will see jungle and democracy dying. War on drugs have failed. Climate action has failed. Deadly consumption has risen from soft drugs to harder drugs that are imposing. Genocide has emerged in my continent. In my country, millions have been doomed to prison just to hide your own social responsibility. You have blamed the jungle and its plants. You have filled rhetorics and policies with nonsense. I demand from here, from my heart, Latin America, to end with the irrational war on drugs. Reducing drug consumption doesn't need of a war or weapons, but the joint construction of a better society, a more solidary society, more affectionate, where life's intensity saves from addiction and new slaveries. You want less drugs? Think about less profit and in more loving. Think about a rational execution of power. Don't touch the beauty of my country with your venoms. Help us without hypocrisy in saving the Amazon, in saving humanity's livelihood on the planet. You gather your scientists and they spoke from reason. With mathematical climate models, they said the end of human species was near, that its time is not anymore millennial, not even centurion. Science activated the silence and we stopped listening. War was an excuse for not taking the necessary action. When those actions were more needed, when discourses were useless, when it was urgent depositing resources in the funds to save humankind and move away as soon as possible from coal and oil, you invented a war. And another. You invaded Ukraine, but also Iraq and Libya and Syria. You invaded in the name of oil and gas. You discovered in the 21st century the worst of your addictions. Addiction to money and to oil. Wars have served as an excuse to avoid climate action. Wars have shown how dependent you are, to which will finish humankind. If you observe populations suffering hunger and thirst, they emigrate north towards water. Then you lock them up. You build walls. You deploy machine guns and fire over them. You expel them as if they were not human beings. You quintuple the notion for those who politically created the gas chambers and the concentration camps. Reproduce it to planetary scale, 1933, on the day reason was destroyed. Is it the case that you don't see the solution to the great exodus unleashed over your northern nations? Is by making water to return to its rivers and the fields to be filled with nutrients. Climate disaster overwhelms us with viruses swarming over us, but you deal and trade with the antidotes and you turn vaccines into merchandise. You propose market will save us from its own adverse effect. Humanity's Frankenstein lies in leaving market and greed unattended, surrendering brain and reason, kneeling human reason before greed. Why war if what we need is saving the humankind? What are NATO and empires for? What is coming is the end of mind. climate disaster will kill hundreds of millions. And listen carefully, it is not produced by the planet, but the capital. Capital is the cause of climate disaster. The logic behind interacting to consume ever more, to produce ever more, so the very few gain ever more. That is what causes climate disaster. You articulated to the logic of capital accumulation on an extended scale the energy value of coal and oil and unleashed the hurricane, chemical change in atmosphere ever more deeper and deadlier. Now, in a parallel world, capital extended accumulation is an amplified accumulation of death. From the jungles of the earth and beauty, there where you decided to make an Amazon plant an enemy to extradite and incarcerate its farmers, I invite you to stop the war and stop climate disaster. In this Amazon jungle, there is a failure of humanity. Behind the fires burning it, behind its poisoning, behind the incarcerations, there is a complete failure of human civilizations. Behind cocaine and drug addictions, behind oil and coal addiction, lies the true addiction of this phase of human history, the addiction to irrational power, to advantage, to money. Here lies the enormous machinery of death, which could make humankind extinct. I propose, as the president of one of the most beautiful countries of the earth, and one of the most blood-stained and violated, to end war on drugs and all wars, and let our people live in peace. I call all Latin America to this purpose. I call for Latin America's voice to be united so we could defeat the unreason tormenting our bodies. I called you to completely save the Amazon jungle with the resources globally directed to life. If you don't have the resources to finance the jungle recovery funds, if it is preferred to procure funds for weapons than for life, then reduce external debt to procure our own budget segments, and with them working on saving humanity and life on this planet. We can do it ourselves. If you people from the north don't want to, just then trade debt in exchange of life. Just trade debt in exchange of nature. I propose and I call in Latin America for that. A dialogue to end war. Do not push us to raise frontiers between us in the fields of war. It is time for peace. Let the Slavic people dialogue between them. May the people of the world do it too. War is only a trap bringing the end of times closer in the great orgy of unreason. From Latin America, we call Ukraine and Russia to make peace. Only in peace we will save life in this our common land. There is no complete peace without social justice, economic and environmental justice. We wage war against the planet. If we don't make peace with the planet, there will be no peace between nations. Without justice, there will be no social peace. All right, this was Gustavo Petro's address last 20th of September in front of the United Nations. Of course, this guy is very intellectual. This guy has a way of challenging listeners when he draws, he brings words, keywords that have to be remembered by the people. Otherwise, they will have to think and look for them. It's not something that is difficult. It's something he's trying to kickstart attention and memories within politics, because of course history is there, but it repeats every day. So yeah, it was great. Also, the point of the war on drugs. I'm from Colombia, and if you are in Colombia or in a Latin American country affected by the situation, You would know that drugs are a big part of our problems. Not only violence. If the drug money mixes within the economy, and if you're not part of it, it'll be difficult for you to grow. I mean, like a businessman. Of course, there are other paths. You can study and be the best in what you do and be employee, something like that. Well, but that's my point of view, right? So yeah, and at the same time, the topics of war and there's goals, right? We have goals. We signed goals for 2030, and waging war, of course, is not helping. And we are getting closer to the commitment we every nation did, and things are not sounding right. So yes, Gustavo Petro, I would say I don't think he will make history with these words, but of course this is a one-off. This is something that hasn't happened before. I wish the message was delivered. I wish the translation would have some impact. That's my main worry about this one. I mean, if you want to say something so important and so upfront, so straightforward, and also so questioning, yeah, you gotta make sure the message is sent in the common language. And let's say I'm trying to do from my corner, from my little corner, something about it. All right. So guys, I am not very political. Well, I am, but I always try to record stuff about music and history of music. But this was just great. Of course, I will come back with some stuff, not political, but yeah, maybe some history, some contradictions out there. So, all right, my name is Carlos Oñoro. It was great to record this. Please allow me, I mean, excuse my English. I try very hard to do it, but of course, even the best shortstops drops the ball. All right, I think this is Rock Speak anyway, because it's an English channel, and yeah, let's listen to ourselves. Let's meet together later. I am in social networks as Honorosaurus Rex or Carlos Oñoro. If you wanna, say something, comment. You wanna share your thoughts on all this crap. I mean, if you wanna listen to some topic, I'll be there for you. I would love to have your feedback. All right, have a great one, and that's it for now. Bye.